Audiobook Academy. Book Summary. The Fairies. By Arthur Conan Doyle. This fairy tale, Fairies, by Charles Perrault, is among his most popular works. At the outset of the story, we meet a mother with two young girls. The older one was more like her mother, while the younger one was recognized as one of the most attractive and kind-hearted females in the town. Her mother and sister didn't like her for this reason, so they threw her out and made her do all the cleaning and cook for herself. She had a difficult existence, and she began each day with a difficult task. After meeting a fairy masquerading as a poor woman, everything changed for the better for her. The mother asked the fairy to send a gift to the elder sister, but because the fairy was so cruel, the older sister only received snakes and frog. There were two daughters in the family, the older one, who was very much like her mother, and the younger one, who was very nice and good. She was stunningly attractive, too, aside from her generous nature. She resembled her father in many ways, including her claim to being the world's most beautiful daughter. Because of their haughtiness and rudeness, her sister and mother were despised by everyone. She began each day by carrying a jug of water back from the river, which she visited twice a day. Aside from her duties, she didn't give much thought to the unfairness she had to endure at the hands of others. When she encountered a destitute woman who asked her for water because she was thirsty, everything changed. For the sake of convenience, the girl grabbed a jug of the river's cleanest water and held it steady for the woman as she sipped. The poor thing was overjoyed. She was nothing more than a fairy. As soon as she was persuaded of the young lady's goodness, she presented her with a gift. Flowers and gemstones would fall out of the girl's mouth whenever she talked. After she returned from her absence, her mother chastised her for being late for dinner. However, the moment the girl opened her mouth to speak, jewels began fluttering off her tongue. The mother was astonished and inquired about the girl's current state, as well as the first time she referred to her as her daughter. Flowers and diamonds sipped from the girl's mouth as she described the fairy. The mother didn't have to wait long before she sent her second daughter to the river to get the same present. Despite the fact that she was her favorite child, the older daughter felt betrayed by her mother's directive. While crossing the river, a fairy in a princess costume approached her. It was impolite of her to ask her to bring her some water. When the fairy inquired about her water supply, she informed her she was carrying the jug and that she should go acquire some on her own. When the fairy noticed her daughter's arrogance, she offered her something else. It's because she spoke in such a derogatory tone that every word she spoke was laced with foul language. Two frogs sprung out of the girl's lips whenever she tried to speak something. It was the younger sister's fault, and the mother was going to punish her for it, but she managed to escape and get lost in the woods. She met a prince there who inquired as to why she was depressed. Her tongue started dripping with jewels and flowers as she tried to describe how she had escaped from home. When the prince observed it, he inquired as to how it was possible. When he asked her about the fairy and her gift, she told him all about it. Soon after, the prince had fallen head over heels in love with her and they were married. Inquiring minds want to know what's going on with the other sister and mom, right? As a result of her sister's behavior, her mother excommunicated her. The older sister had moved away and died all by herself in the distance. The younger sister, who was expelled from the family when the fairy granted her an astonishing gift of generating diamonds and flowers in her mouth whenever she talked, was a kind-hearted girl. The young girl was on her own, until she met a prince who married her and appreciated her for who she was. Arrogant and unpleasant older sister, a woman who refused to help the fairy when she became thirsty. The fairy concluded that she was a wicked person and offered her a gift in response. No one wanted to marry her or take her in as a member of their family as a result of her depravity, and she died alone. When it came to using the fairy's gifts for her own selfish purposes, Mother was calculating. After seeing the diamonds and flowers produced by her younger daughter, she wanted her elder daughter to generate them as well. As a result, her older sister didn't receive the same present as her younger sibling. In the end, the mother perished all by herself. A young man who fell in love with the younger sister because he noticed her generosity. Her talent was obvious, and he knew he couldn't resist marrying her when she told him everything about herself. Biography of Charles Perrault. Charles Perrault was the seventh of 8 children born in a well-to-do household in Paris in 1628. Because his father was a strong disciplinarian who insisted that he receive a particular type of education, he chose to major in law. After completing his education, he was offered a position in the government. Many people credit him with creating the most famous kind of children's literature, the fairy tale. Folklore served as a source of inspiration for him. Both the Grimm brothers and mouth-to-mouth transmission played a role in their transmission. Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, Bluebeard, and Puss in Boots are just a few of Charles' most well-known fairy tales. One of France's best-known authors has just released a new book, Tales of Mother Goose. There were 8 stories in all. Charles used the name of his son to publish this work. There have been numerous film and television adaptations of his fairy tales. In 1969, The Sleeping Beauty was initially published as a fairy tale. Charles was widely regarded as one of the most important figures of the 17th century and a champion for the future. There was a debate going on at the time between those who advocated for a more conventional approach to writing and others who advocated for a more modern approach to writing. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button for more content like this. See you in next video.